Good evening. It's Wednesday Night Live, 1 foot in 5D. I am your host, Alara of Sirius, who cannot see the chat right now because Restream is just loading. So I don't know if anybody can even see me out there. Let me see what is going on here. Oh. It looks like it might be loading. So I hope we're live. I hope we're live on DLive, foxholepill.net, and YouTube. I see, let me see here. Yep, there they are. Okay, can I get a 5x5 in the chat, you guys, if we are up on the platforms, because Restream is, the Archons are messing with me tonight. They love to do that. So yes, where was I? I am your host, Alara of Sirius. Tonight, we have a special surprise. We have, I get to interrogate, I get to interrogate Loyal2ThaFoil, so this is going to be super exciting. If I could not fall off my booster seat.
Oh, boy. Right?
Yeah, my booster seat.
Yeah. We're going to get you a seatbelt, man.
Man, I'm telling you, I'd be trying to get on the booster seat. It just doesn't, but anyways, it's too soft. I need a hard one like they give the toddlers in restaurants. Yeah.
Right.
All right, let me pull up. Thank you for the 5x5s in the chat. It's good to see you guys. Hi, Julie65, Lucy Lou, Patricia, the Doctor, Cosmic Origins, Chef Matt, Suitor Bug, Joeen, Mr. Fox, Claudette, Mikey B, Mrs. Lizard Breath, Christina Fincher, LA Addicts. All right, let me go pull up the Foxhole here. I had it, but I thought that was what was causing my problem.
What up, Foxhole fam?
Yeah, so let me, while I'm doing that, go pull up Foxhole over here and hope it doesn't cause a problem. Let's see. Yeah, let me find myself. Where am I? Yep. Struggling tonight. Here we go. Okay. Muted. Look at that. Now I can see the Foxhole chat. Good evening, Foxhole. Dottie, Danny, Plum Patriot, NY, Aurelius Locke, Michelle, Tony the Wop, Death Me Mess. Good to see you guys. Yeah, everybody's here. I can see everybody. We're winning tonight.
Me Mess? Death Memes?
Death Memes. Yeah, well, she had two caps on there, where he, maybe they'll clarify, had two caps on there, and I didn't, I'm very literal, Foil, we know this. Very literal. Yeah, it's always good to hang out with you guys. Hi, James, GU, Michelle, Roseanne.
Oh, I see some puffins already.
Ascension
Just
Diaries.
give me the beat
Man,
now.
Don't start with the puffins already. So yeah, this is an exciting night tonight. I am going to, Foil's going to share her story, which is pretty incredible. And as if the badassery isn't already clear, it will become even more clear this evening.
Oh boy! So are we doing like Oprah level interview?
I don't know. It depends on where the commander wants to go. You're just gonna sit back and you're gonna answer the questions. I'm gonna ask them. The peeps are gonna ask them. They'll throw questions.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They'll say, Alara, brah, ask her this, and I'll be like, okay, I'll do it. So anyway, yeah. So how's your week been? Let's start there, Foil. How's your week been?
Oh man, I work 3 jobs. I'm constantly doing something, and then between the 2 channels, it's a lot. But I love it. It keeps me busy, keeps me out of trouble, keeps me focused. That's the thing. Go forward.
That's right.
Can't be worried about what's going on behind you if you're just moving forward.
Hi, Amy. Good to see you. Yeah, so above duality, can we start with the puffin video? No, man, we can't. Look, I already got you guys all strung out on the puffin. We can't continue this. You've got to...
It is kind of like a drug, man.
Yeah, it's serious. I mean, it is. It's that good. We should probably send that guy an email and be like, do you realize what you started?
Right.
With that video? Do you have any idea?
You are loved, sir.
I brought the curls back today. So as ever,
I know, even the one right here.
As everybody knows, my hair is growing out, guys. I had like a boy cut, and it's growing out, and it's in that super awkward stage right now where it's just like an afro. So I've been trying to cover it with a hat or a beanie most of the time. But tonight I was like, no, I'm just gonna let the curls. I'm gonna rock.
Let it all hang out.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock the rugged '80s curls just because. I don't know.
Just cause, right?
Yeah, because I can't. What am I going to do? Wear a beanie in July? Like, this is going to be going on for a year, right? So what am I gonna do?
It's great.
Wear a beanie with a wife beater? Like, hey, I'm here. I don't start a new trend. Why
Right.
not, right? Yeah. So yeah, anything exciting, important this week? I hear you got tornadoes headed your way. Wah,
Man,
wah, wah.
we have weather here, Alara.
Yeah.
Like,
Something more than
unlike-
sand dunes. Yeah, that's cool.
right? Yeah, we got some
I'm jealous.
ruckus headed this way. It'll be all right, you know.
All right, so Foil and I met. How long has it been now? We met
It's a
in
few years.
I don't know. It's been some years, and the Department of Winning introduced us, who is
It was the Department of Winning.
our good
right?
friend. Yeah, and I remember us talking. I don't know how we started talking, but we started talking, and I realized how much we had in common, and how smart you were, and I saw a strength in you that I have immediately, and I over time I grew to respect you and love you because you were able to make dramatic changes in your life that not many people are able to do. Most people that have lived the life you've lived are not alive anymore. And let alone on Twitter every day trying to wake up the whole world and doing extensive research and holding it down. And I just had a tremendous respect for you and your sense of humor. Yes, I'm going to get mushy right now. And your sense of humor, you know, when everything could be going to complete shit and you're able to laugh at it all just like I am. And
Oh, you gotta laugh at it.
we just had
Gotta laugh.
we just had an immediate connection and a chemistry between us, and we knew that we had to do something together. You know what I mean? And we had to put information out there and shine our light somehow. And we were both kind of really into Space Force stuff. We used to talk about science. Well, science really is our common bond. Like, we're both really into science. And I remember Foil at first, when I first got to know her, she'd be like, brah. And she'd send me like,
Brah.
yeah.
We're nerds, brah.
Yeah, she'd send me articles. She's like, brah, check this out, brah. Look at this. And I'm like, yeah. And that was our thing, like sharing science articles. And, you know, and then we started sharing, I think, Space Force articles. Like, look at what they're doing now. Oh, they're going to do this. And it was like, it was just natural for us to be like, okay, nobody's doing the Space Force news, brah. Like, you know, that's us right there.
Department of
Hi,
Winning
Leah,
was like,
good to
you
see
guys
you.
definitely need to do a show.
Yeah.
And that just seemed like a natural progression.
So should we tell them who the Department of Winning is?
Oh, our friend Texas White Hats.
So if you guys were on Twitter before we all got yanked off, Texas White Hats is that's who we call the Department of Winning. So
Oh, everything is winning with him.
that's why we call him
It
the
doesn't matter
Department of
what's
Winning.
happening.
Yeah. He'd be like, there's a tornado hitting the house. Well, you're winning. Yeah. So
Right?
that's why we
All
call
I
him
see is winning.
that's
right?
what he'll say. All I see is winning. So we call him the Department of Winning. So anyway, yeah. All right. Let me move this screen over here. So Foil, let's start. I don't know where. Start with, I don't know. Start where you want to start with, maybe like how you grew up. And then that'll lead into the rest of the ruckus. And it is some ruckus, fam. It is some ruckus, let me tell you.
My life was always an expression of division, I guess. It was, I don't know, almost like multiple personality disorder. Like there were definitely two me's, right? I mean, the one that was just very driven as far as academics was concerned, like despite what was going on, because I had a really rough upbringing, and you know, my family didn't always make the right decisions, and not only that, but I was just really struggling. You know, I think everybody struggles to find their place in the world, and I guess I had a unique set of experiences because I found myself looking for answers in dark places on one hand, but on the other hand, I grew up poor. I grew up very, very poor, but something in me knew that like I had the capacity to do something academically. And so that was also a singular focus of mine. I mean, but in the midst of this, I started getting in trouble at a very young age. Maybe, I don't know. My first arrest was at 13. Like it was bad. It was bad. My parents weren't really in the picture, and I was kind of like a weed just growing up. There was no, we've lost the sense of like,
Me too.
there are tribes that had, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, we're in a state now where there are no villages raising a child, right? Kids are just growing like weeds out of a rotten soil. And when the soil is bad, the seed doesn't grow right,
Yep.
And I thank God for my grandparents who stepped in when I was maybe 14. And I mean, they really literally had to snatch me up and kind of put me in the right place. And like I said, I had gotten arrested. And at the time, my mother was in the military, and they gave her a choice. Either I could leave the military base or she could face courts martial. So my grandparents took me, thank God. I had a good few years, but in the meantime, I was so angry, and I was struggling with, what was eventually diagnosed as bipolar depression. I was struggling with that. I was having weird spiritual experiences that I didn't really understand. I started messing with some really dark stuff that I shouldn't have. And I opened a doorway. And something came through that doorway and attached itself to me. But at the time, I was so young, I didn't realize what was going on. I didn't know that it was there, but it was a veil over my entire perception. And after I graduated from high school, when I left and I was out on my own in college, which I did ultimately finish school, but I mean, during that time, I was right back into the ruckus that I had started in. I mean, I'll keep it simple. I was a ghetto apothecary, a street pharmacist, if you will, and it was, it was one bad decision after another. It was definitely one bad decision after another. But I didn't realize that everything that I was experiencing and everything that I was seeing was being tainted by whatever I had let through that door. I don't even know how else to explain it. And I guess just so that this doesn't, I mean, because there are so many individual stories, guys, but just to kind of get to where we need to be with this conversation, I guess. While I was doing what I was doing, I was supporting myself. I was supporting other people. I justified it in my head, like I'm just out here doing what I need to do. For a while, I wasn't a user, but in the end, it gets you. And I developed kind of a pretty bad habit. I mean, aside from the psych meds that I was on, because I thought I was suffering from bipolar depression.
Right.
I developed, I had some personal problems. I had been in an accident. I got pretty stuck on opioids. I got pretty stuck on painkillers for a long time. And, after I graduated college, maybe a year after I graduated college, it ended up getting me to the point where I got arrested again. And as much as I hate to say it, I spent quite a lot of time behind bars.
Like, tell them how
prison.
long.
I did 5 years in the penitentiary. Yeah,
and Foil was a gangster, guys. Straight gangster.
I'm trying to keep it
right.
I'm trying to keep it simple and civil, but it was bad.
The reason it's important to know that is because it's important to understand what happened after that and what led you to where you're at now. Because you're one of the most amazing, beautiful stories I've seen of someone completely flip the script and like be serving God. And it's like one of the most incredible things. And these things can be hard to talk about, no doubt. Like I'm not entirely comfortable with talking about aspects of my life, because I know the person that we're dealing with today just can't even really wrap her mind around the person she was in the past. And so I think it's important for them to know that, and that's just part of it. You doing that time is just part of it. Then you went on to get into the car wreck and die.
My life has been like a roller, like there was ruckus and then divine intervention. Like I was in a complete state of chaos, and then my grandparents took me. They got me back on track. I go out on my own. I get into another complete state of chaos. I get
Well, and I'm
arrested.
I'm sure
I
part of your
spend all that
problem
time.
too is your intellect. Is you were always really really smart, and when you take somebody that's smart
Oh,
like that and they're focused in the wrong direction and they're not
yeah,
spiritually
you
awake,
tend,
they're going to get in some
yes,
trouble. Yeah, and especially if there's wounds there
yeah.
and possible entity attachments like you've spoken
Especially,
about.
like we talked about this the other day, but the idea of being humbled. And I was not at all a humble individual. You know, I thought I was the baddest bitch in the room,
Yeah,
just to keep it simple,
right.
and sometimes you got to get knocked off your horse.
Yeah,
As much as my time in there was horrific, I deserved every minute of it. And it was one of the quintessential experiences that got me to where I am today. I mean, without it, it gave me a sense of perspective that I just never thought I would have.
right.
And it could have been worse. Like, I've come to look at things in life. Like, I look back, you know, XYZ happened. I know it could have been so much worse. You know, I was never broken there. I didn't have it bad as half the people did in there. I should have been in there for a whole lot longer than I was. It was still blessings in the darkness, even though I didn't see it that way at that time. When I came out, I was good for a minute, and then, as so often happens, I came out, I felt like, I don't know, I felt like society was going to judge me, but it was really me judging myself. Oh, like, I have 3 college degrees. I said, how, nobody's going to hire me. And for a minute it was hard, but once I got that out of my head that nobody was going to hire me, I found a job. I said, nobody's going to want to interact with me. But once I got that out of my head, I found people that felt similar and that were perfectly willing not to put that stigma on me that I was putting on myself, you know. And oddly enough, again, I started to go, I get myself out of these messes, and then I just started to careen back into the chaos. Well, before my awakening, it had gotten really, really bad. You would think that prison would be the darkest point in somebody's life. I can tell you absolutely
Right.
that is not the case. And it was not the case with me at all.
So
There
tell
was so
them
much more.
what it was that finally completely flipped the entire script on your addiction, on
Man.
your behavior, on all of it.
So my awakening was probably 3.5 years ago. Yeah, I think that's right. 3.5 years ago now. And I had gotten arrested again. And while I was arrested, my house had gotten robbed. And when I'm telling you I lost everything, I mean they took my socks and my pillows, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta be a special kind of thief to take somebody's socks and their pillows, man. I was bitter. When I got out, at that point I had only spent maybe a month in county, which is, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, nothing. I know that probably sounds like it would suck to the audience, but believe me, you get to a point where you're like, it's a month in county. It could be worse. When I got out, I was bitter. I was on some revenge type nonsense. And then I got really, really depressed. And when I tell you I struggled with depression my entire life, I mean a soul-consuming, heavy blanket of darkness that it felt like you could not get off. Like, no matter what you did, even on your good days, that blanket was there. It would stifle everything: creativity, ambition. It stifled your drive. It stifled your focus. It was like a heavy ass wet blanket, and it was horrible. Well, yeah, tweakers. Exactly, Jordan. Exactly. I wasn't going to say that, but yes, exactly. So when I got out and I was on some BS, and I was lit this one day. I was lit,
Yeah.
right? And I totaled my car. A new car that I had paid cash for. I mean, tore it in half on a phone pole. Right? That was step 1. Tore it in half on a phone pole. And then I was dead for 17 minutes. Okay? The people that were in the car took off, except for one guy. right? Nobody wants to get in trouble. They took off.
All right.
And the one dude is the one that told me it was 17 minutes, right? And when that happened, I can tell you, like, some people say they die and see a light. Mm-mm. And I'm giving you a very abbreviated version of the story, mind you. But in any case, so when this happened, I went somewhere else. I went to a very dark place. As a matter of fact, it was nothing but darkness. And it was I don't even know how to explain. It was complete and total separation from everything.
God.
And that's what it was. It was the separation.
Separation from God.
Mm-hmm. And believe me, my first thought was, oh shit. I knew.
I did it wrong.
Like I knew right then. I said, you know what? This isn't just I messed up and this is forever ever. Like forever ever. It was the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing. And then and then there was this, I don't know, warmth or light that I could feel myself getting pulled, I guess. Feel myself getting pulled. And I could feel him behind me, Jesus. And there was no doubt to me who was there or what was pulling me from this darkness, this perdition. Like I knew what it was. I knew what it was immediately. I knew what it was. And I also knew that everything was going to be okay. And then as the light started to come back, I don't know, like it comes from behind and you're slowly starting to be able to see again. And I woke up, I faded in, woke up, whatever it was. Everything was different. Everything was different. And I mean, like, and as I'm being pulled, I could feel something pulled from me, like out of me.
Like my understanding would it'd be like a jinn or some sort of attachment.
I don't know. It felt like octopus tentacles around my spine.
That's how they describe a jinn. That's how they describe a jinn.
Pulled off of me. And I knew then that I had let it in. And I knew then that that had been discoloring my reality probably since I was 12 or 13. And I knew then that there was no more of that mess for me.
Hold on. Thank you, Brooklyn. She says Psalm 91, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
Abide. That's so funny because literally I was listening to a sermon last night that was on the word abide.
Thank you, Brooklyn.
Thank you, Brooklyn.
So Jesus ripped the entity attachment off of you, and then tell him what your experience was like after you woke up. How different the whole world was.
It was like the veil was lifted. Like it was just like the veil was rent. I could see, I could feel. Like I didn't even realize that I couldn't feel anything. That I had no other than anger, or this extreme antipathy or depression. Like I felt grateful in the midst, and I had just lost everything I owned, wrecked up my car, got into a mess with some people. I felt grateful. I didn't go into a depression. Alara, it was the craziest freaking thing.
Tell him about the opiates. So you had a long-term opiate addiction.
Listen.
Okay, for anybody that's familiar with you don't just get off. Like you go through a hardcore detox, and it's bad. Tell him what happened after you woke up.
I knew I knew it was done right then. Listen, man, listen. I had tried Suboxone. I had tried cold turkey. I had tried this, tried that. Alara, after that happened to me, I didn't even get sick. I didn't get sick. I didn't have cravings. I didn't need therapy. I didn't need rehab, and nobody would believe me.
Just done.
My family didn't believe me. Yeah, done, data, done. My family didn't. You know how long it took them? 2.5 years before it would my best friends, one of my friends had gotten clean. She was like, you can't do it without there's no way. And I kept trying, like, listen, I don't know how to explain to you what just happened to me, but I'm done. Like, done. I moved.
Let me thank a couple super chats. Thank you, Mary Maya, for your super chat. And Sarah F says, please write a book inspiring others. You could call it Blessings from the Dark. You're so inspiring.
Oh, thank you guys. We love you.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I
man, listen.
Yeah, your story is pretty incredible. And the person that I know, that's what's crazy, is the person that I know today, I can't, like, I see it, that person, but I can't even imagine. You're a totally different human being than the one that I've heard you describe. But I could see the potential.
Gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. Mm-hmm. And it didn't stop there. You don't understand. I was diagnosed bipolar at like 13 years old. I was on medication. I don't need anything.
Of that. The same thing happened to me.
I don't take anything.
Don't want it.
I don't. I moved the next day. I left the city. I changed my phone number. I stopped using my social media platform of choice. I took no calls from anybody. I left and I decided that I was going to forge my new path.
Tyler just said foil is a walk-in. I think, I mean, I think there's a level of truth to that maybe. Like with me, I'm serious, dude. Like with me, I really believe, look, my life is too complicated to go into, and this is why I don't go in. It's way too complicated. There's too much, and I don't even understand it myself.
I feel you.
Let alone try to speak about it.
This mess.
Let alone try to speak about it to other people. But the same thing with me. Like I literally, the same experience as you, Foil, and this is kind of one of our common bonds, is I literally, now for me it was a spaceship. Jesus did this for you. It was a spaceship for me. But one day I literally just woke up and I was not the same. I was not the same person. But I think it's even more complicated with that. I think the higher aspect of my soul walked in when I was 25. And I think I spent some years asleep doing stupid stuff because I didn't understand what had happened to me. And I think my spiritual awakening was a separate event from that. But I don't understand it. You know what I mean?
I feel like, I feel like I just see somebody saying my same consciousness. I feel like my consciousness was taken, stripped of certain things, and put back.
Right, which would be like I'm describing, your higher aspect of your soul taking over. And when your higher aspect takes over, these things that once plagued the only way of describing it, the things that once plagued your lower dimensional fragment, they're just gone. Like it's like you have more power or more understanding
you listen. And not only that, but I feel a direct connection to the divine. Now we've talked, Laura, and you know this. Now they don't know. When I pray for things, I mean, random things that will happen, and I'm not like it's I don't know, not like it's I'm casting wishes or anything. Like when you cry out to God in faith and in truth for things, and I don't mean material things. I never pray for material things. Guidance, direction, whatever. I get answers that are extremely specific to my needs.
Right.
I mean, we talked about me finding work after that happened, how I pray about something. Like there was an instance after I had made the shit. I said, you know what? I have to go back to work, like actual work, not out here in these streets. Like I have to go to work. And I was like, what am, and I prayed, and I'm like, now I'm in a place, no car, no way to get anywhere. I'm in a weird place because I had to leave where I was at. Like, I'm like, what? And I'm praying. I'm like, Lord, just give me some direction. Send me a sign. Show me what you want me to do. It's not like somebody's going to call me with a work from home job that I didn't apply for. Bruh, the next day, my friend called me who had fired me at one point for being
Yeah.
doing whatever out of her office, called me the next day with a work from home job that I didn't apply for. And the craziest part was she was like, Foil, she said, I was not going to call you. She said, I had considered it and discarded it maybe 2 months ago. She said, I got the weirdest feeling like, and she didn't know I was sober or trying to do anything. You know, I could have told her any story. She didn't know that I was serious. She said, I got the weirdest feeling last night that I should just give you a call. I said, well, I'm really glad you did.
It's the divine.
It gave me a first step. And now I've been able to have the most amazing experiences and meet the most amazing people and take things in the most amazing directions.
And you make statements to me too, like, I'm not going to say what they are, but you've made statements to me privately that are statements that somebody who's working on themselves would make. Like somebody who's always looking at themselves and what role they could be playing in their current set of circumstances. And from all the stories I've heard about your past, it's like the person that you were before would never have even have cared, let alone.
I did that. No, definitely not.
And now I see that as a daily thing for you. You're always looking at how could I be a better me. And I think
that
we're
is
all
my
going.
sole question.
I think we're all going through that. I think we're all, ascending, evolving, and I think we're all going through this thing where we're, we have our spiritual awakening, and then it's just a constant journey to look within and how can I be a better me today? How can I look at this circumstance that is seemingly outside of me and see my role in this or what it's trying to reflect to me and change my reality and change the world around me. So
one of my primary missions, personal missions, spiritual missions here, I feel, is self-mastery. And I think that probably would apply to a lot of people.
Yeah. Like
everybody comes here with a different spiritual mission, but I mean, our soul development is apex importance. And with me, how can I master my emotions? How can I master my desires? How can I master my apathy? How can I master disinterest? How can I master my fear of integrating with people or my whatever, so how can I be the best version of me? How can I be more humble? How can I be more giving? How can I contribute to what's going on around me?
Wouldn't you say that it starts with forgiving yourself? Like, I know
absolutely,
if you don't forgive yourself for whatever ruckus you got into in the past and mistakes you made, that's where it starts. You can't, in my estimation, you can't love others unless you love yourself and you've forgiven yourself for whatever it is you think that's you did. I
think when we do things that we find it hard to forgive ourselves for, that's a tool that the darkness will use on you.
100%.
You're not good enough for this because, I mean, nobody's going to want to deal with this.
Nobody
wants to hear that. It will put it like a voice in your head over and over and over again until you succumb. If you put that bag of bricks down and keep walking, you will be okay. But that is one of the primary. Yes, I did some horrible things. And I mean, things that I would never even talk about. Again, horrible. I have to say, I understand. I am sorry to the world. I'm sorry to myself. And I am okay with where I'm at. I forgive myself. I'm not going to carry that bag of bricks.
Spirish Malonen says, I had an NDA myself, so I can totally relate. Turning point in his life. Thank you, Spirish Malonen, for your super chat. Yeah, hi Brad. I didn't have a near-death experience, but you guys know I had contact, and that did the same. It had the same effect on me. It was literally a complete shift, like in just overnight. Like I couldn't even talk to people about it. Like nobody that knew me before, we wouldn't have nothing to talk about.
Mm-mm.
Nor would they even believe me, or what, could I even explain the things that were happening?
Oh yeah,
to me?
Listen, I have cut all ties. Like I don't like what. Right, like you said, what would we have to talk about?
I literally literally cut. Like there's very few people that knew me before I woke up that I talk to now. Like
I have like
maybe
three.
a couple.
I have three
Yeah.
friends. I have one person that's been in my life since before prison that we're just tight. You know, that's my buddy. I can talk to him about anything. And then I have a few other friends that had known me along the way, and they had gotten themselves out of ruckus, but that they're still there, but they had nothing to do with where I was at. You know, other than that, I cut all ties with everybody. You know, and as far as near death experiences go, I mean, that cold, empty void and separation, I can't even, to this minute, I can't even fathom anything more terrifying than that. Like, I ain't doing that again.
Yeah. Separation from God.
That's what it was.
Yeah. And I think maybe for me, Foil, this just dawned on me that I had that separation from God incarnate here, the way I was living. And after my contact experience, I felt a connection to the divine, just like you're saying.
I mean,
and that connection to the divine
can definitely sever
totally
your
changed.
cord, man.
But you know what I'm saying? I think I didn't feel that connection to the divine before. And after my contact experience, I did. I felt a direct connection to the divine.
Well, you know what?
Just...
we numb ourselves, Alara. You know, I shouldn't say cut the cord, because God is there for you if you're willing to look and listen and accept. I don't care what you did, okay? But we numb ourselves to the connection. It's like Jiminy Cricket in your head. If you stop listening, it gets quieter and quieter and quieter, and you just don't hear it anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, but the Lord doesn't sever his connection. Like, it's there if you want it. But you have to be willing to say, and this was the thing. I had tried so many times on my own. Never could do it. It wasn't until I said, you know what? This isn't on me. This is not within my capacity. I can't do this alone. Help me.
Yeah.
That anything came from that.
Yeah. It's beautiful, Foil. Your story is so awesome. It's so inspiring. I mean, you've been in such dark places, and yet you shine so much light now and humor.
We have to be a light in the darkness for the people that are still in the darkness, man, that are coming behind us down that same dark tunnel that just don't know where to go. Like, it is possible.
Yep.
Change is possible. You got to want it, though.
Thank you, Christina Love. I think she just put a super chat in. I missed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Christina Love. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, it's just, you're here, Foil. You made it, and you're doing your thing. And what's the most awesome about you is that you're willing to say it. You're willing to say it.
No, there are still some things, maybe personality traits. Like, I don't mince words. I will admit it.
Yeah.
My failings have become my strength.
Yep. It's true.
You know, you don't have to keep it in the closet. You don't got to tell everybody if that's not where you're at, but your failings can be your biggest strength.
Well, I feel like, you know, I don't know. We're both always kind of I'm trying to look for what'll serve the highest and best good. If I think speaking on something will not serve the highest and best good, then I don't speak on it. If I think it will serve the highest and best good, then I'll put myself out there. You know what I mean?
Well, there are times when interests are best served by silence as well.
Sometimes I think you have to go in and seek whether you think, but I think your story is important because you're just a different human being today. And I know we all are. There's people in this chat that have gone through the same thing.
Yes.
Near-death experiences, contact experiences, other sort of spiritual experiences, and it's completely shifted and altered them. And we're all going, that's the most beautiful thing about this, is we're all going through this together. Like one big family.
I agree.
And I feel that on a really deep level. And it's like, man, it's weird. It's like the love that I feel for you and for the people in this chat, in these chats, that all of us that are trying to evolve and be better people every day and do our part in trying to fix our planet that is so messed up. And we've gotten this way because we weren't paying attention. For whatever reason, we just weren't paying attention, and it got out of hand. And now
I think these things are touched. They're divinely touched. Like, we're supposed to be here.
Yeah. And I know for me, I was supposed to go through all that darkness. There's no way I would have had that consciousness shift and be sitting where I'm at right now had I not gone through some darkness. Like, I'm just a stubborn, hardcore chick. Like, it's hard to reach me. It's going to take something, you know, and I'm sure there's a lot of us like that. And I know you're one of them. And it was going to take that for you, Foil. Don't you see? It was going to take death. It was going to take separation for you
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what it was going to take.
But if you're out there and struggling, there is a way, man. You know, I don't know. I know especially here on this channel, like, we have a lot of people that have a lot of different beliefs. But I will tell you this: I'm a Christian, clearly. My grandmother used to always tell me, Jesus didn't come for the, you know, he came for the sinners. Jesus came for the sinners. You know, so find there is a way. Like, there is a way.
Just reach out. I know for me, I had literally, I was in such a dark place before I woke up, right? But I think and maybe this happened with you too. Tell us if it did. I literally prayed, help me care again about anything. Just guide me and help me care if you're there. Like, that was literally, and I was pretty much an atheist at that point. You know, I didn't know if there was a God or not or whatever, but I literally cried out in desperation, help me care and help me see. Like, well, that's all you got to do is knock.
Get your answer is
that's
when
right.
You cry out.
You got to knock.
In the Bible, it says you cry out to the Lord in desperation.
In desperation and humility. Yep.
You know, yeah, you don't just ask him your laundry list of prayers for the day. Oh, please, can I have this and do this, whatever. If you cry out to him, and you feel it in your soul, it will send that energy. Like,
Chris says, love is the greatest of all spiritual gifts. Yep. 100%.
Amen.
Thank you, Chris. Amen. Go ahead.
You got to cry out to him.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
and I don't regret my life. Like I said, I wouldn't be what I am without all of that.
Yeah. I don't regret any of mine either.
I just want to make it better. Yes. I just now it's, what can I do now? You know, how can I help now? I find myself, you know, when I pray, I pray for direction. I pray for discernment. Show me how to help. Let me help.
Yeah.
Show me the way. That's all. Just show me the way. Point me in the direction and wind me up, and that's where we're going to go.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I know that's where a lot of others are at. You know, because this simulation we got going on down here gets real intense, man.
It's a broken simulation.
It is a broken simulation. So let me thank the super chats from last week, by the way. I forgot to do that, and I forgot to run the promo. I always do that. How do I always do that? I forget.
I don't know. And we were just talking about it.
I am the worst. Yeah, I'm the worst at that. Okay, so
buy you some Omnia, folks. Right.
Right, run it in the middle of the show now. Run the commercial
totally
at the end. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So thank you, Chris Hawkins, for your super chat, and UFO Mark for his donation. Man, why do I do that? Because it's not my focus, I guess.
Man.
Yeah.
It happens.
But yeah, thanks for sharing all that with us, Foil. I know it's not the easiest thing to talk about, dude. Is the dark path on the way to the light. You know what I mean?
It's a lot easier, and when I have somebody to talk to about it, and I hope the people in the chat are feeling what I'm putting down.
They love you.
There is a way. There is a way.
They love you.
It will be okay.
I love you. You're a lovable person with a great heart, and it doesn't matter what time you spent in the dark. The darkness helps us evolve, and I think they understand. These are all people that have had awakenings of their own, and they understand that the darkness is, it's a part of the journey. It's a part of the process in third density. That's just what it is, and we're at the end of the cycle, and it's playing out the way it was kind of designed to play out, So it is what it is, but it's brought us all here. It's brought us all here together.
At this unique moment in time.
Loving each other and trying to be better people and fix our planet and take down the corruption, and fearlessly too. Fearlessly, right?
Well, maybe that's part of the thing, is we need people that are fearless.
And maybe
You know,
that
you gotta
darkness
go through those
is,
things.
yes,
Yes.
that's what makes you that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If I could
There's
suffer
not a
through
whole
all that
lot.
drama,
Yeah, there's
you
not a whole
can't
lot you
frighten
can come to
me.
me with where I'm like,
Mm-mm.
right. I'm like, and
There's not. I put myself
right,
in more danger
and
running amok than
right,
I'm even worried about coming as a result of speaking truth
right.
and trying to make a
Like, you
difference.
want me to worry about that and
Nah.
what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm good on that. Right.
Yeah. That's true. Absolutely true. Suiterbug says, thanks, Foil, for sharing. Even more thanks for giving the light from the Holy Spirit.
Oh yeah, I think he's with us.
Doctor says, when my girlfriend died, nothing scares me anymore. Yeah,
Yes.
maybe that's why we go through these things, because I think it really makes you like, for me, it broke my heart open and made me fearless. I was always kind of, no, but I'd say I was afraid before because I was an unhealed person.
Well,
I was always trying to fill things with the wrong things. Now,
yes.
it's a different kind of fearless. It's not in your ego, like, I'm a badass.
Yeah, right.
It's more like, no,
Right.
we're going to
There's
change.
there,
No, we're
there's
going to change
literally
this.
nothing. There's nothing any human could do to me that was worse than that void. So bring it.
Right. Yep. It's the truth.
There's literally not a thing. Not one single thing.
Separation from God is about the only thing that
Man.
can
I
scare
thought
somebody
I was
now.
like, oh no, no.
No.
Like,
I made a
oh,
mistake.
no.
I better correct this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Miss Lizard Breast says, when my nephew was killed and I was alone with his lifeless body as he left, I died myself.
Oh, God love you. I can imagine.
You mean on a spiritual level, Mrs. Lizard Breath? Well,
Yeah, that's a horrible pain.
yeah, we've all had some kind of, it seems like everybody has had a horrible pain that has just altered them.
It's,
whether it was
yeah,
losing
it's
somebody or it just, or
there are some people that it will, it either builds you up or breaks you down. Like, but you can't be complacent with the darkness. And I think there's something God, the Bible says God he wrote his laws on our heart. I think there's something in us inherently that wants to find the better way. Even listen, and I dealt with some shady folks, but even in them there is a spark. Whether they know it or not,
right,
whether they see it or not, whether it's ever recognized or realized, God wrote his laws on our heart. There's something inherently in us as a spiritual being that wants to seek that communion, man.
The chat's really Blue Eyes says, yes, I agree. When you speak Loyal to the Foil, I thought the same thing. The spirit moves and talks to us through each other. What you are saying resonates with me much. And US Anon is saying, I lost my baby bro a few years ago. My wife lost her mother 5 months ago.
You.
See, it seems so many of us have had these experiences that just, it's making me reflect kind of right now on,
Well, you just gotta be grateful for where you are now and eternally hopeful for where you are going.
Yeah.
Because I am grateful. I'm so very grateful. And I don't get depressed. I don't get shook. I stay in a state, I try to stay in a state of constant gratitude and appreciation, even for like the little things, stuff I would have just, shrugged my shoulders at before.
Mrs. Lizardbreast says, thank you for letting me share. That is intense and something I've carried since 1997. Thank you. Yeah,
Much
guys,
love.
like share it. Like, there's no shame in our stories and where we've been, and it's part of our journey, and it's part of what helped us change and evolve and grow and learn, and there's no shame in that. If you want to share something, share it. Like,
fear and shame, those are very controlling, negative
fear, shame,
things.
Guilt, all those things, like we talked about earlier, like loving yourself.
But they're
is where
also
it all starts.
choices.
Yeah.
This is what we don't realize. Those things are choices. You can choose to put that bag of bricks down.
Yep.
It may be hard. You may have to rewire your brain. For example, every night when I go to sleep, and Alara knows this, but like after I realized I had been heavily programmed,
right,
I said, how can I deprogram myself So every night when I go to sleep, I have a list of sermons that I will turn on and play while I'm sleeping
Yeah.
to fix I'm trying to free my neural pathways, Tyler Koala. I
Brad
try to
says,
reprogram myself.
I think God toughens up the ones he knows he's going to need to be strong later on. I absolutely agree with you 100%. I 100%. I look back at everything now and I understand that every dark thing about my path was vital to creating the person that I am now. I wouldn't be able to do what I do now if it wasn't for the things I've seen and experienced and lived through and come out from the other side of. And Electricity 7 on Foxhole says she has a very inspiring story. I can't even picture the person she was. Yeah, I can't either, guys. Like, I know, I feel it, I see it because I know her really well, but at the same time, it's not the person I've ever experienced. I don't, the person I experience is very, very loving and funny and has a big heart and, wouldn't hurt anybody. Well, not intentionally, but I wouldn't go stepping on her property trying to, that would be a bad idea.
I'm a defender.
Yeah. But so am I. And I get that. And there's nothing wrong with defending. You
don't have to be an ass, but you don't have to let people walk on you either.
Right. Miss Lizardbreast says, if both my sisters lost their firstborn, I was terrified it would happen to me too. But now my little one is 2, and I know she is a healer who will live a very long life. She brought the UFOs in 2020. Interesting. She brought the. Is that what
I see a lot of people talking about loss of children. That's
one I can't even imagine. See, that's a pain I've not gone through that I can't. Well, I lost my dog, which was my only child I ever had.
Hey, so you can love a fur baby. You can love a fur baby.
I don't know. I don't know if it's comparable to losing. I wouldn't imagine that it is. But I've never had children. I don't know what that's like. I didn't think I'd ever be able to have kids. Yeah. I did, and then I got pregnant, and it was tubal, and I did lose it, and that was painful. But now I have all these other babies in my life. Yeah, you do.
I have my niece's baby. I have a ton of babies in my life, and it's great. And I was not in a position at that time to be able to do anything for anybody, not myself or a child. I remember my grandmother telling me, don't cry. It'll, if it's going to happen, but you don't know what the Lord has in store for you. And I didn't know. I thought it was the end of the world.
Right. And
now I'm okay. I'm okay.
It's wild that she said that, because even though I can't relate to losing a human being child, losing my dog, truthfully, you guys, that's what sent me into my dark night of the soul when I really lost it right before, when things went really south in my life before I woke up. That's literally what sent me down. That was the pain of losing. My dog was killed in a really brutal way. The pain of that, when it happened, I dropped to my knees screaming, and I'm a really tough person. I dropped to my knees screaming, but I also,
you bond with that creature that you love that's completely dependent on you.
I put all my love into that being. It wasn't, now that I look back, this is completely separate from a child, but it wasn't, I put all my love into that being. And when I lost that being, it's like I didn't love me then. And so when I lost him, it was like I lost myself. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have a healthy detachment and a love for myself then. I do now. But I'll never forget the pain. It was terrible. And I can't even imagine what it would be like to lose a child. I can't. I can barely imagine because of losing my dog. But, and I haven't had a pet since. And that's the truth. I haven't had a pet since. Or anything since then. Actually.
Well, I knowing you and your love for creatures, you will.
I know. Someday.
Feel like it's time. It will be time. Like I said, I thought for sure that I my whole heart wanted that to happen. But honestly, I was in no position.
Yeah.
I understand.
It's crazy. Even when I was asleep, I knew that I was here on a mission. And I knew for my own particular path and my experience, I knew I wasn't supposed to have a family. I just knew that. Don't ask me how I knew, but I knew. And I never really did. I never did, you know?
You do have family.
Yeah, I do.
You got this
all around me.
Mishmash of
Yeah.
family, the people that love you.
And I've grown to love all of creation to the point where, you know, I was thinking the other day about getting a pet, and I thought, I don't want one. You know why? I don't want to.
Focus your love on one thing.
Yes,
when you can spread your love to
see,
everything.
foil gets me on a level that, like, I want to love I want to love all the beings, and I want them to be free. I want them to do what they do, and I want to interact with them and love them, but I don't want to own them. I don't want to possess them, I think is what
Right.
it is. And I'm not saying that having a pet is weird or bad or no. Pets are very good for people, and it's a great light and love to have in your life, right? But I just, I don't know, I was in deep thought about the pet thing the other day, and I thought, you know, I think I just want to
Love everything.
I would like to live somewhere where there was more nature and more animals around, but you know, I would prefer not to live where there's
I
nothing
wonder
but
where
rocks.
there's some nature and pets and stuff.
Right? In the south.
Right?
Down
I'm
there in the
to
south.
come down here to
Yeah.
Christian Iraq.
That's right. Gonna go down there.
Gonna come on, get your redneckitude up.
Yeah, so I don't know, guys. I don't know who knows? I don't know what the future holds, you know what I mean? I only know today. I try to live in today. And you know, do I still carry wounds from my dog? Maybe that's why. I don't think so. I think I'm okay now. But I have to look at that. If I'm looking at me and I'm trying to evolve and do the inner work, I have to look at why I can't wrap my mind around having a pet.
If and when it's time is if and when it's time.
Right. It's okay.
Like us
I'm
trying
where
to
I'm
force
at.
things in life is half of the problem. You got a bunch of people out there trying to force a bunch of things before it's time. You got to wait on the Lord's time.
Aria the Herb says pet rocks are friends too. Yeah, you know.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Get you an ant farm, Alara.
That's why I miss Hawaii, because there was so much of creation around me. I could talk to the trees, and there was birds, and there was the ocean and the dolphins, and I was in heaven in Hawaii. I really was in heaven. And then the desert. Wah, wah, wah.
Right.
I was like, man, what am I going to do now? But you can find joy anywhere, and I know that. I just need to find it.
Yes, you can.
I just need to find it. Yeah.
It's hiding out there in the sand somewhere,
yeah, it's out
I promise
there somewhere.
you.
I got to go find it. Yeah. So I got to get on that. So, yeah, well, what are we? Well, we're at an hour right now. So.
It's up to you. Do you guys have questions?
Yeah, do you guys have any questions
you want to know?
Questions for Foil? Yeah, so Debbie says maybe you still have the fear of losing again or getting attached too much again. Most do. Debbie, I have to look at that. You know what I mean? I think that might be true on some level, and I have to look at that. You know what I mean? Because I'm not fully evolving as a being if I'm living in any sort of fear like that. You know what I mean? And if that's what it is, if it's fear, I need to look at that, because God doesn't want us to live like that. You know what I mean? We need to heal whatever traumas we have that are causing whatever it is. So
do the inner work.
Definitely do the inner work. So yeah, if you guys got questions for Foil, come on with the questions. We'll do question and answer time with Loyal to the Foil.
Right.
Yeah.
LA Addict says what are my next steps or goals in life? I'd really like to I like working with Alara. I want to get our message out. I also would like to get my PhD at some point. I have my MA. I really am still academically focused. I'd like to finish that. I just want to do, I don't know. I want to affect change. And I preach it all the time. You have to start locally. I moved recently, down here in the South, and I'm looking for ways to help. I mean, a lot of things were somewhat closed until recently. I mean, maybe go get involved and volunteer somewhere. Like, I want to find a way to physically affect some change around me while also sending change out into the world this way.
Catty Corner says, Foil, how did you get interested in space?
Oh man, I've always been a nerd. Like, let me not. Actually, I've had some pretty weird experiences too. When I was talking earlier about how I had gotten involved in some dark things, which is what opened the door to get things attached to me. So and I didn't know this since I was a kid. I saw things. I thought I was nuts, of course, until I realized it was something that my mother and my grandmother also did. I knew that there were things beyond what we accepted as our physical reality. Like, I knew that. I physically saw those things, which is why I started messing with like the Ouija board and stuff that ended up getting me in trouble. I was visiting places I shouldn't have been, but fundamentally it came from the fact that I understood that there was way more than what we were supposed to accept, right? I mean, I understood that innately as a child. And so being, like I said, being a nerd, and I was always interested in the paranormal, things that, you know, were unexplained, and that naturally just led to space and everything else. So I've constantly been a watcher of the sky. Constantly been a watcher of technology and the way that society has been developing. Like, I have a degree in anthropology and a degree in political science. Those are my undergraduate degrees. And because I'm interested in the way society has come to structure itself and how we can look at where we were to see where we're going to go. You know, so I mean,
how did you become a conspiracy theorist?
Oh,
and when did you develop that, and how? Because that's what I'm curious. That's what I don't even know about you. Like, you've always been this way since I've known you. I'm wondering, when did you become? When did you become this way?
Like, okay, when we talk about awakening, I don't mean awakening to the conspiracies. I have known that there was, like I said, probably from being haunted as a kid. I mean, my house is haunted now. For you guys that didn't see the conspiracy couch,
it is.
It's a constant. So from there, I knew that there were things that they told us weren't real that were absolutely real. And that is one rabbit hole. You know how it goes. You get down one rabbit hole to another rabbit hole. I knew the government was full of shit. Like that, I mean, getting in trouble all the time, you know the government's full of shit, you know, on whatever level. And so then plus you got a lot of free time, you know, so it's one thing to another thing to another thing. But this isn't new for me. Like I was, you know, early 90s paying attention to fringe science, just weird things, trying to understand, number one, why I was being haunted and what the freak was haunting me. And then also when I started to look up, I told you, I haven't had an experience like you, but I've seen things in the sky. I was driving to South Carolina one time and for probably a good 20 minutes saw what I assume now to be the TR-3B going down the coast. I mean, I'm an inquisitive person, and those things definitely piqued my interest.
Okay, we have quite a few more questions in here. Let me find them. So, oh boy. Hold on.
Yeah, the tinfoil was kind of a natural accessory for me.
Okay, so Suiterbug's asking what kind of work you do and what you already covered what your degrees, and she can't really talk about what she does, guys.
Like the majority. Yeah, I can't get into specifics on a lot of it, but I work with AI. It's kind of.
You do a lot of different things, dude.
I do. I actually have 3 different jobs. I grade standardized tests. Believe it or not, I had a teaching certification at one point.
Don't go into too much, please.
I'm not. That's, you know, so I grade standardized tests, and then the other 2 projects I work on I do work with programming. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. So let's see. Let me find the other ones. I'm losing all the. Mary Maya says, I lost an absolute angel and her 3 beautiful children in a mudslide, and a big chunk of my soul died that day. My awakening helps me find beauty and light even in the darkest of days.
Amen.
Amen. I think we should, you know what? I think when we close the show, we should pray for everybody and
we can absolutely pray.
Their traumas and, you know, just whatever they need to help them get where they need to go and understand their path. You know what I mean? I think we should say a prayer. And it seems like a lot of people are going through stuff right now, too, in the community.
The doctor says, is Foil a Facebook fact checker? One of my projects may or may not be fact checking things, but don't you guys worry. Don't you guys worry.
Doctor says, what advice would you give your younger self, Foil? Ooh.
Oh my God.
Ooh. Brad says fact checker. Kick.
Right.
Hey, we need more like her, right?
Buy Apple, probably.
Buy Apple? Of course she's going to say that, yeah. Guys.
Buy
you know
Tesla.
Her weakness is still still likes the money, right?
only, but I'm not dependent on it.
No,
Like,
it's a different thing now.
I want to use it to do something
To do good.
useful now.
Yeah, and I
instead of
can
just,
definitely attest to that. Yep.
like I don't need to have like, Versace this or whatever, Gucci that. I'm not on that, but I can get better equipment. I can host things. I can donate. I donate quite frequently. I can use it for good instead of just consuming. Consumption is the mother of all
Yeah,
evil, man.
I'll vouch for you on that and say that whatever you do, whatever you're into now, it's to use for good, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? And
Always.
Yeah, definitely.
And I have like 80 family members.
James Tierney says, my wife got on her knees, called out to Jesus, and he answered. She quit everything.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Doctor says, I want money to buy stuff, but I won't do evil to get it. That simple.
Yeah, that's true too.
Okay, so then Michelle Spina says, Foil, do you think you were an alien? If so, from where? We've had this discussion.
Right, matter of fact, we just had this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
literally
know.
like a day ago, 2 days ago.
Like I told Alara, like I don't really think about it because I'm worried. I know that I'm spiritually connected now, and I'm worried about now. What can I do now? Where am I going now? How can I be the best version of me now? And I don't think that requires me to know anything else. I'm not opposed to the idea. Alara and I have a bit of a fundamental disagreement on the nature of the aliens that are intervening in Earth's affairs.
We argue about aliens all the time, but you guys know how we argue. It's very loving, the way that we argue.
But my goals and my drives don't require me to know that. If I need to know, I'm sure I will be let to know.
Well, I'm an alien. And I know
Alara
that
is definitely some kind of an alien.
Yeah, and I know that I'm an alien, and I even communicate with my alien family. And so, yeah, so,
yeah,
Yeah,
I can't, I'd be in the bunker like, hey.
If and when the time comes that Foil figures out what kind of alien she is, I will be the first to tell everybody in the chat. Yeah, Foil knows. We know what kind of alien she is now.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm a blue alien for anybody that's wondering. I think my name confuses people because it's Syrian. I'm Syrian, but I'm a blue Arcturian. So just to clarify, it's complicated.
Oh, the Arcturians. Where's Tyler?
It's complicated. Yeah, where's Tyler? Where's Tyler? Fearless Arcturians, my dudes. Yeah, Arcturians are amazing. Maybe I'm partial because those are my people, but they're super
Mel
loving.
Tulip says, "Am I open to the idea of Jesus possibly being a benevolent ET?"
Good question. Hey, come on with the good questions for this one. Yeah, that's a good one.
I am open to the idea of ETs being creations of the Lord. I think Jesus is what we were told he was. I think Jesus is the Son of God. But I think that everything created in this universe, be it extraterrestrial, interdimensional, it is all a part of God's creation and God's ultimate plan.
Right. It's semantics, really, because we've talked about this where I believe that Jesus, I really believe that Jesus is the Logos. And I believe the
Christ
Logos
consciousness.
Yeah, and I believe the Logos
and
is the Son, is physically in our dimension, the way that we view things, in our dimension that would be perceived as the Son. So to me, Jesus is the Logos and the Logos is the Son. That's the only way it makes sense to me. But we all have a different way of things making sense. You know what I mean? I don't see Jesus as a person that's outside.
I know this. See, and this. I think we've had this conversation too. I see God as a person with a personality. Jesus is a person with a personality. These are personal beings, right? I think you tend to see God as like an overarching energy. Like an interactive sentient energy.
I see God as the energy that runs through all of creation and makes what we're looking at.
Right.
Right.
Well, like I said, I think it all stems from there, but I have a very biblical.
Tell him you think God is outside of the system. You've told me that. So Suiterbug said, Foil, if you build a flying saucer spaceship, would you want to take a quick trip around the solar system?
I would absolutely.
Thank you, Suiterbug.
Thanks, Suiter. Yeah, I would absolutely go. Listen, I'm not opposed to riding it. I believe that stuff is. I know that it's real. I know that there are ships. I know that there are extraterrestrials. I don't trust them. But
you don't trust the one. You don't trust the ones.
I
That
don't
are
trust
here.
them here because I look at it like, if you're willing to interfere here, you can't be up to any good. Because as far as I understand it, from the general understanding of the masses, there's some non-intervention that's supposed to be happening here. So if you're willing to intervene here, we have a problem.
Suicide Weekend says Jesus runs the Matrix, and I totally agree with her on that. I think the ones that are here, look, the benevolent ones don't violate free will, and that's why we don't see them. Okay, so the ones, unless they live here, they're from here, and they live in their inner Earth, or they live on the planet.
Yeah, I can't get mad if you're from here, but you still ain't supposed to be
right,
getting involved.
But exactly, like, we know the rules, the galactic rules, and so if you're involved with our military and you're hiding from us, you're probably shady. Like, that's just, So we kind of agree on that. I mean, I think I have more of an optimistic outlook of the overall picture of the extraterrestrial topic, but we definitely agree on that part. We were discussing it the other day, actually, about ETs and what we think they're all doing here, and we don't, that's why we don't see them.
Yeah, yes, I absolutely agree with that. I see Brooklyn asking about me expanding on God being outside of the system. I think that, well, like somebody just said, Jesus runs the Matrix. Okay, like if we're in this, and I understand, people of different faiths, like especially, if you're talking about like the Hindu faiths, or like where it's all one energy, the law of one, all of these things, all of the energy eventually returns to the Creator. I think God is outside of this. That at some point you don't have to keep going through whatever it is that's going on down here.
You mean like you think it's a simulation and God is outside of the simulation?
It could be that. It could be as simple as something outside. Like we've talked about this. I mean, as far as the physics, we've talked about the big bounce. If the universe is expanding and collapsing and expanding and collapsing and expanding, there's something outside still where the expansion bubbles under and goes back into the collapse phase. But there's still something outside of that. I think God is outside of the system.
So what do you think Jesus is? If you don't see Jesus the way that I see Jesus, what do you think Jesus is?
The Son of God.
So the thing that's outside of the system, God.
Jesus is.
How did he walk on the earth then? How did that happen? Explain that.
A spark. There's a spark. God took a spark of himself.
Right.
That is individual, but still a part of, I'm like I said.
But do you believe we're all sparks? We're all sparks of the Creator?
I believe we are his creations. We are from whatever energy he put into the system.
But you think he's separate from us? You view Jesus as separate from us?
Yes, I believe Jesus is something different. I don't think that we are all inherently can be God. Listen, I know I can't be God, and the reason I know that is because every time I tried to quit doing that ruckus I was doing, I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't do it without him. There was no find my inner God and do it on my own. It didn't work that way. I had to find something bigger than me, outside of what you would think of as a karmic system, or, any kind of a circular understanding. If there is a circle that is everything that exists, there's something outside of that circle that is God.
I think these conversations, let me thank Chris real quick. Chris Hawkins says Chuck Missler, look him up, dove into E.T. the way he dove into everything. And when the human cried out to Jesus, the demented left. Why would an E.T. respect the name of Jesus? Now, I will agree on this one. I do think there's power. There's power in the name of Jesus. Now, what the metaphysical components of that, whether calling as a spark of the one infinite Creator, calling on the being Jesus, is calling on the Christ consciousness, which is the Logos, which I don't know exactly how it works in my own understanding, but I believe there's power in doing that, period. Now, I believe Jesus is special, but I just view Jesus in a different way than she does. But I think these conversations are super important. Like, that's one thing I hope to convey to people, Foil, is our relationship. We see things completely different. I'm hardcore law of one. You're hardcore biblical. But we are able to have conversations and nobody gets triggered, and we talk things out and we work things out.
That's what's supposed to happen.
And that's how we need to be able to talk to each other. Yes. Like,
people have forgotten that that's what's supposed to happen.
right.
Like, you're able to have a conversation with somebody you don't necessarily agree with, and you can find common ground.
Right.
And you can work from, and I can keep what I believe, and you can keep what you believe. And what I absolutely believe is that I was told not to judge.
Yeah, and I don't think, and that's the thing.
That's pretty simple.
I don't think that I know it all. I don't think that I know it all.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
open to the fact that I could be wrong about a lot of stuff, and that's why I listen intently to other people's perspectives, because they've had experiences I haven't had. And they, you know, this is how we figure out the truth, guys, is having these open conversations about our view and why we have our view the way we do, why we view things the way we do, and try to come to gain some sort of understanding through these conversations, you know?
That, I mean, that's, like I said, that's what they don't want to happen. So I know that's what's supposed to happen.
Right.
You know?
Oh, Patricia says, you ladies have a beautiful friendship. Love you both. Thank you, Patricia.
Oh, thank you.
I hope if anything comes out of our relationship, Foil, it's that people can see the fact that two people from completely different lines of thinking could completely find common ground and dig for the truth together and not judge one another. If I want people to see anything, it's maybe that dynamic in our relationship.
Alara calls me every day, like, I just read this, what do you think? Or I'll send her something like, hey, look, you know, like, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to have that back and forth. That's, I mean, any intellectual proposition should be looked at from every possible angle.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I bounce all kinds of stuff off you that I know necessarily you don't. I mean, the conversation we had the other day, you know, about stuff, I'm not going to go into it, but I literally bounce whatever random crazy thought or thing I read off of you, and you give me your perspective, and I appreciate your perspective, even if I don't agree with it.
Like, I've read The Law of One. I've read the Emerald Tablets. I understand. I've studied these things. I'm not opposed to learning about things. I can learn about things that I don't necessarily agree with. Mm-hmm. And I also, like I said, I know one thing for sure. Jesus said it was not my place to judge. Right. That's reserved for them. You know, and I stick by that.
Yeah, Roseanne says we all have a piece of truth, just different perspectives. Absolutely, 100%. Well, you know what? This has been a lot of fun hanging out with everybody. I'm almost digging just sitting here talking with the chat and having we should do that more often, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I like just chatting it up with the folks that are hanging out here.
Yeah, we should do that more often. Just come and talk about whatever's going on and talk about our deep thoughts about the universe and religion and ETs and disclosure and whatever else we want to talk about, and just brainstorm together, right? So I don't know if you guys would be into doing that, let us know. And I'm definitely open to doing that.
Just random thoughts, right? Just have people come and we can talk about whatever. I'm all about that.
Absolutely. All right, well, let me do, so a lot of announcements right now. There's a lot going on, you guys. Man, this is a crazy week, so is next week. So, all right, so tomorrow night, Brooks Agnew will be on Conspiracy Couch, and we will be discussing the Inner Earth. And apparently, Brooks Agnew is like the resident expert on Inner Earth. He's even going there with like Brad Olson and some other guys, I think. Yeah. So, and he speaks at conferences about Inner Earth. So he's kind of like the perfect person to come on and talk about
awesome.
Inner Earth. So yeah. So tomorrow night, Conspiracy Couch with Brooks Agnew will be doing the Inner Earth. Then of course, SFN on Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then next Wednesday, Carly Q will be on with me, which will be, it's always a beautiful disaster when I get to hang out with Carly Q. It's wonderful.
Right.
Yeah. So definitely, I always have a lot of fun hanging out with Carly, and so yeah, I'm sure we'll get into some ETs and some high strangeness and some spiritual. We'll probably get into all kinds of different stuff. So yeah, that'll be fun. And then Conspiracy Couch, we're having again next week on Thursday night because
yeah, I'm an idiot.
Because
right?
but it's gonna be, this will be a fun one. We're gonna have a masterclass, Conspiracy Couch masterclass with Sam Tripoli. So
woohoo!
Yeah,
I got my boy coming. He's gonna come school us on some old school OG conspiracy theories. That's
gonna be.
I think it'll be a ton of fun.
That's gonna be a fun show for sure. So it's gonna be Conspiracy Couch Masterclass with Sam Tripoli from Tinfoil Hat Cast. Yeah.
Oh,
so
Brad just said that Tuesday at 10 p.m. I will be on with him. So I guess we have a date. I will also be on.
Tuesday at 10 p.m. Foil will be on with Brad. So she's gonna be on what? D Live and Foxhole with you, Brad? Are you putting it on YouTube or no?
I don't know.
What are you guys going to talk about? That's going to be interesting seeing you on with Brad. That's going to be awesome. What are you guys going to get into? Yeah.
Right? Who knows?
That's awesome.
Who knows?
I love Brad. He's such an incredible light in this community. There's so many beautiful people.
He's fun. I know, right? So many.
So many.
It's awesome group of people for sure.
For sure.
I'm really grateful for everybody that I've met along this journey.
Yep, me too. It's like we talk about all the time. We're family now. It's like
yeah.
It's super amazing. I wouldn't change a thing, Foil. Like my path.
Me neither.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Oddly enough, me
even
neither.
though I have no pets and I just and I have no beings or anything, I am a very happy human being. And I'm a very happy, content,
just shine
evolving
your light.
human being.
Mama, that's all you just shine your light. That's the point.
You too, Foil. We love you. Group hug.
Aww,
we love you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your story and encouraging others to
I'm glad
be
I
able to
come
stand
on
in their
share.
truth. Yes, this has been lots of fun. We can't wait to see you on Brad's show. When is that going to be again? Tuesday at what time?
Tuesday at 10 p.m.
Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. You got to put the time zone on it, friend. Come on.
He's East Coast too. I assume so. Tuesday
okay, so 10 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, Foil's not going to reveal her name yet, I guess. We're going to be calling her Tinfoil Joseph for a bit longer. Yeah, we're going to be calling her Tinfoil for a bit longer. Anyway, yeah, what is it? Nothing. I'm just reading the chat. Sorry, it distracted me. Anyway, yes, lots of love, group hugs, and all that. Thank you so much to the moderators. We love you. You guys are super wonderful.
Yes, we love you.
And incredible. And if you guys moderators, if you'd like to remind me about the Omnia commercial, feel free, because apparently
Fearless tried.
Yeah, I don't remember very much. So
oh yeah,
I seem to remember on Sunday nights, but on the other nights I just sort of.
Well, it's part of the flow now.
I don't know. So
that helps.
I don't know if we're gonna start doing Conspiracy Couch every week. It's kind of looking that way, dude. Like it's looking like.
I love personally. I love SFN, but I really love Conspiracy Couch.
Conspiracy Couch is fun.
It is super fun.
It is fun, and it's like evolving. It's taking on a life of its own, dude.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
It should.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So.
Right, all conspiracies welcome.
So yeah, so Conspiracy Couch is 10:30 Eastern on Thursday nights when we do it.
Miss Lizard Breath, my email, if you go to my personal channel, Loyal2ThaFoil, it should be linked below, I think. I have it, there's an email if you guys want to reach out in the About section on my page, on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, so thank you all. Thank you moderators for being so awesome. Thank you chat for being the amazing, wonderful beings that you are and sharing in your stories and your love and light. Thank you. And what else? Thank you to the super chats. Thank you very much for your support, you guys. Yeah.
Everything. We love you guys. Thank you.
Definitely. So we will see everybody tomorrow night for Conspiracy Couch Call-In with Brooks Agnew. Thank you, and good night, friends.
Night, friends.
Good night, Foil. We will see you
Good night, Laura.
tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow for Conspiracy Couch.
Yes, you will.
Good night, everybody.